Hello, everybody. I just wanted to touch base with you this evening and kind of talk about a few things that are coming up this week. We're getting into the heart of the Renaissance now, and you're going to be looking at one of my favorite pieces, Josquin's Ave Maria Virgo Serena, and Josquin was one of the most influential composers of all time. And he influenced composers like Martin Luther, and a lot of people don't realize that Martin Luther was in fact a composer, but he was. And Josquin influenced Johann Sebastian Bach. Another composer that you're going to be reading about this week is Palestrina. And Palestrina, when you listen to the two pieces, the Mass from Palestrina after listening to Josquin, you should be able to see some very clear influences from Josquin to Palestrina. Josquin, very notable composer. He was the guy that put the soprano on the top and the bass on the bottom, so that you could understand the words. He did, you're going to read about pair duets. You're going to read about, imitative counterpoint and all these different things that, Josquin was one of the pioneers. I do also want to recommend that you take the time and read the chapters. Don't just gloss over them. Make sure that you read them and that you understand them. If you have questions, send me a text or an email and ask. But make sure that you take the time to actually read them. You're responsible for all of the material in the book, whether I cover it on the PowerPoint lectures or not. So make sure that you read it. Speaking of PowerPoint lectures, make sure that you do watch those, that you click on it and you'll hear my lovely voice talking to you about the high points of the chapter, and then make sure, of course, that you listen to the music and complete the listening quizzes. You're going to have your first listening journal this week, and that listening journal is you're going to click on the assignment, and there's going to be several videos there that you can choose from. Listen to the one that you're the most interested in. Watch the video, listen to it carefully, and then you're going to do a response to that video. And what I'm looking for here is a combination of two things. The first half of your paper, you're going to give me some historical context. You're going to tell me a little bit about the composer, the times it was written in, and what the piece may be about. Anytime we look at art, we need to establish the context in which it was written or created, because that helps us really understand the work at a much deeper level. So I would start out by if these composers that you're choosing happen to be in the textbook, read that. Google it, look it up, do a little bit of research on the different composers and see what's going on. If you run into pieces that are in foreign languages, make sure that you that you look up the translations to those foreign languages. Not speaking the language is not an excuse. You need to look it up and be able to determine what the song is about from a lyrical standpoint. So you're going to establish the context in the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, you're going to be talking about the music, and I would like you to try the best you can to describe what you hear. When I read your paper, I want to be able to kind of hear the music through your words, at least the best that you're able to do. I do want to see your opinion, but it needs to be backed up with objective fact. It's not required that you like all the pieces that I present to you. In fact, you won't like several of them. And that's okay. What I'm looking for here is, if you don't like something, tell me why, but be precise. For instance, you may say something like, I just couldn't handle this piece of music because the tempo was so daggone, well, don't say daggone because you're writing academically here, but the tempo was so slow it just didn't keep my interest. Although the melody was beautiful, I didn't really care for the fact that the lyrics were in Latin. I couldn't understand it. It was too much work to have to look it up. Those are objective reasons. I didn't like the melody because it was too disjunct. it was hard for me to, I wouldn't have been able to sing along with this, and I prefer music that I like to sing along to. See, these are things that are objective that make it sound like you've taken a college level music class, and these are the kind of things that I'm looking for. On the other end, you could say something like, I really love the balance that they achieved with the voices. I really love the harmonies. They were very pleasing. They were very consonant. I really love the rhythm. It kept me guessing. It wasn't too predictable. I mean, there could be any number of things depending on the piece and the time period that we're looking at. But I want you to try to sound like someone who's taken a college level music course by the time this is all finished. As always, if you ever have any questions, please feel free to ask. Another quick thing about your papers, one of my little pet peeves, make sure that you italicize proper titles. Proofread your papers. I would really recommend you proofread out loud. You'll be surprised at the little things that slip by you when you read it that you think sounds okay, but then when you read it out loud, it's like, oh my gosh, did it really sound like that? You'll be surprised what you catch there. So proofread out loud before you click the submit button. Watch for capitalization errors. Capitalize first. I mean, I shouldn't really have to say this in a college level course. First words of a sentence, proper nouns, things like that. Make sure you capitalize. These are things that I really shouldn't have to, talk about in a college level course. But it is a Gordon Rule class, so a college level writing ability is assumed. Okay, so these kind of little things. Now, I'm not going to split hairs. I'm not an English teacher. So I'm not going to, criticize every single little tiny thing, but it needs to look like, again, that this is a college level piece of work. This is not high school at this point, even if some of you may actually be dual enrolled and in high school. I think that kind of gets it for what I wanted to talk to you about this week. Like I said, I hope you guys have a good week. Happy listening. Make sure you listen to your pieces multiple times. And I'll plan on touching base with you again very soon.